Hey there. This video is about the outreach team, which is currently inactive, but we'd really like to bring it back. The goal of this team is to get our message of Pause AI out into the world more broadly than we would be able to get just on our own through organic one-on-one contacts by contacting influencers, both social media and traditional media, and trying to get them to talk about us. So if you're on the team, you should get access to this Google Drive folder for the outreach team. And I'll start with this team doc right here, which tells a little bit about what this team is for, gives some motivation for why what this team is doing is important, and then has some advice about cold contacting, because that's basically the process. You have a big list of uh, sources that you might be able to contact, and you just find their email and you cold message them, and hopefully some of them respond, and then you follow up. Here in activism research, there's a number of documents describing how advocacy has been successful in some other movements. This would be an optional thing to look through if you want some ideas on strategy, but not necessary. We'll go through these a little out of order. Your resource library here is some, if you don't know what to include in your initial message, this has some example messages that have worked before, team meeting notes. So once we get up running and like having regular meetings again, those can go here. And just some tips and tricks for contacting people based on the experience of those who've done this before, and they started seeing some patterns in what worked and what didn't. Next, wish lists for contacting. So this was a suggestion of all the team members at one point, was to write up a list of who they'd like to contact. You can take a look through these to get some ideas as to who you would like to contact. But I think there's enough accumulated that you won't necessarily have to create your own. Now, the main folder of importance is this educating the public project, because this is the essence of what the outreach team does. And here, if we look at, say, this spreadsheet, this has a great big list of channels. So like these are, for example, a bunch of channels that are about AI. And so it could potentially be good to have them talking about a pause on there somewhere. And so if you say like, oh, I know Mental Outlaw, for example, picking a name at random, and I want to contact them, then you can put your name here that you're going to contact them, and then put these check boxes for each step in the process. So did you contact? Did they respond? And did they agree to an interview? Now, the idea this team was going with before was to set up interviews between various like YouTube podcasters primarily and AI safety experts such as Roman Yampolsky, who have a view on AI safety that's very much aligned with that of Pause AI. Now, I put a note here that Roman is no longer available. Now he's been on Joe Rogan and all the other really big podcasts. He's getting more offers than he has time for, and so trying to like set up more connections. He just that would be wasting his time, and it would be a not a very good message if you contacted an influencer and then they said, oh yeah, I agree, and then you can't follow up. So it's very important if we're going to continue going this route of making these connections for interviews with experts and influencers, that we want to make sure the expert's available. Another one that they've worked with in the past is Audrey Tang. But this was a while ago, so they might still be available, but this is something we would need to follow up on to verify. Yeah, and then another source of names which might be worth contacting are the people who signed that CAIS letter that was the initial call for a pause. I'd say this is probably mostly outdated at this point. I don't see necessarily what the benefit is. of contacting these folks. But this is another resource that's here. They put a fair bit of time into accumulating all these names and finding them. And that's pretty much like what we have. Uh, one problem this team had in the past was, it worked very well when it was a small group of people and PauseAI was just starting out. But now that we've gotten to be a bit bigger as an organization, it's really important that each team member knows who the other team members are contacting, so that we're not contacting the same person or having to like constantly be in conversation about that. So we're going to need to set up some tracking system to know who who the team wants to contact and has been and who hasn't. And I think from this, just picking one of these channels, maybe having a different expert that we're trying to connect with, but this list is still good of people that can be contacted. And then this has some tracking built in right here. This is a very low tech solution, so maybe we come up with something better over time. But this is what we have. Other thing to get started if you're going to be on this team is I will, as the onboarding team lead, make sure that you're on the outreach team channel on Discord. And then we can, once we get a critical mass of interested volunteers there, we can put together some time where we can all meet and talk about how we're going to divide things up and who's going to be a team leader that will be responsible for bringing new volunteers in and communicating with the rest of PauseAI as to how things are going and what's needed.